everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to replace spokes on a wheel in a way that nobody else does. So I got these wheels in a trade from a buddy, and one of the wheels here is missing some spokes. So I'll just show you here. It's missing one spoke here, and it's missing another spoke over here. Okay, so here you can see the spokes are missing over on the non-disc side. I'm just going to kind of lock it into place here with the indicator arms on the truing stand. And first off, I'm just going to measure, make sure that I have the spokes. What I do is just put the ruler like all the way along from the bottom of the nipple over to the elbow of the spoke, so like that spoke head. Here we go. I'll just kind of show you here what you're looking at. So it's around 280 millimeters. It kind of looks like 285, but we're just going to go with 280. We're going to estimate about a 12 millimeter nipple. So what we do is we just we find our 280 here, so 28 centimeters, 280 millimeters, and we're going to have to add on 12 millimeters to the end of that. So that's going to bring us to 292. All right, so I'm just gonna have to go to the box here of spokes and see if I have any kicking around. So I have this bag here of just kind of odds and ends. You know, I save them just for instances like this. Now, the difference here, and like I said, I'm gonna show you a way to do it that nobody else does. And the difference being is that I'm gonna take all the tension off of every spoke and just kind of start over. Now, why would I do this? Okay, most places all they're going to do is just put that spoke in and then just tighten it right back up. The problem there is you can go maybe another 5, 10, or however many miles on your newly fixed wheel, and eventually another spoke's just going to break, and that's going to happen more often than not. So the way that we fix that is we take the spoke tension down to, you know, like when we're building the wheel. So basically the end of the nipple is at the end of the spoke threads, and that's what we're gonna do. So I got my spoke here and I'm just gonna measure it out. So what I do is I just take the spoke threads and line them up, you know, as close as I can here. Like the rim's kind of in the way a little bit. And I'll just line them up together, and I'm gonna see where the head of the replacement spoke sits relative to the spoke that's already installed. Now, they're both on the same side, so they're going to be the same length, and the one I have here just kind of works. So like I was saying, I take all the tension off the wheel here, so everything's basically like to the point where we just laced our wheel. You know, there's no tension, so we'll be able to just stick our spoke in, no problem. Now, one thing we have to do is just look at the way that the spokes are oriented in the spoke holes in the flange. So you can see that we have a head out and a head out, and the one we need to replace is going to be a head in. And by head in, I mean the inside of the flange is where the head will sit. And it's kind of a head in, and head out pattern. So there you go. You can see head out, head in, and head out. So sometimes they call it elbows out, elbows in, but you know, like it doesn't really matter. It means the same thing. The next thing we have to do is just kind of verify what our lacing pattern is. And on this one, it's a 3-cross lacing pattern. And you can see there, I was just pointing at, you know, the spokes that we're gonna have to cross over. Just change the camera angle here. So here, I'll do it again. You can see that it's going to cross over one spoke. So the first spoke is going to be the head out spoke to the right of the replacement spoke. And then the next spoke after that is the second spoke. And the third spoke we cross under like so. And I kind of really didn't think this one. I didn't really think this one out here. So, you know, just have to use 2 hands. But you can see there, like it basically goes over, and then under the third spoke, and that's, you know, the third cross. Now, sometimes these, since it's a replacement spoke, it's not going to sit perfectly flush against the flange, so what we do is we just kind of bed it against the flange. And you can see there that the spoke is about the right length, so I think we're going to be okay. Now, I'm just going to use my little trick here where I thread a spoke into the back end of a nipple, and I'm just going to push it through because it's a double-walled rim, and although I could just kind of try to drop it in there, I'm probably going to mess it up, and I don't really want to do that. I just want to do it right the first time and get it done. And of course the the nipple's just not threading on properly, like so. We're gonna have to resort to our nipple driver here, and we're just gonna bring it down to that uniform point where the end of the nipple is at the end of the spoke threads. Now I have 2 spokes to do here, and it's the exact same, so it's gonna be a head in or elbows out replacement. And as you can see there's the first cross, the first spoke to cross, then the second spoke, and then the third spoke we're going to cross underneath. So the pattern is over, over, and then under that third spoke. And we just want to make sure that the spoke is bedded over to the flange. And again, we're going to use our little trick here with the nipple. Because, like, again, we don't want to add time to what we're doing. Like, we don't have all day. We just want to get it done. And plus, like, I'm showing you this way where we took all the tension off. In the end, it's going to be the superior way to do it. So the superior method, because you're probably not going to get a bunch of broken spokes after. And we'll just use a nipple driver, just bring it down to that uniform spot, and we'll move on to the next phase, which is to start tensioning up the wheel. Now, I'm just making sure all the spokes here are at that uniform point. So, like I said, the end of the nipple flush to the ends of the spoke threads. And here we go, this is what it looks like. There's a little bit of a gimp there, like it's pretty prominent. So we're gonna have to fix that. Like maybe there's a bit of a warp in the rim, like I didn't really notice, and I'm just gonna try to true it out as best I can because it's still it's a used wheel. So the way I'm gonna do it this time is I'm gonna take the disc side and I'm just gonna use the tension meter and measure it off so that they're all the same tension. And you can see some were at that 10 point on the tension meter, and that one was a little low. So I'm just gonna fix that up, and we'll go back and start again at the valve hole, and I flipped the wheel over in the stand. So now I'm just gonna measure off the tension on the non-disc side, and it should be at 5. And that one's good. Let's see, you just go all the way around and you fix everything so that it's, at that even tension of 5. So I've gone around, I've done that, and you can see there's still a little bit of that gimp, and there's a bit of a hop there too. What we're gonna have to do is just keep working on it, and I'm not gonna show you me really like turning the spokes so much as I'm gonna show you how to fix each individual gimp. So as you can see here, it's kind of pulled over to the right, and I flipped the wheel back, and so that it's the disc side on our right side here. What we do is we just look for the offending spoke. You can see here, we want to bring it up radially and pull it laterally to the left side. So that would be the non-disc side. And again, we just kind of want to gradually move the wheel over to the non-disc side. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's very acute, and sometimes it's really long, the pull over to one side. So you kind of have to fix it gradually. And you can see there, it kind of has to go over. And here, you can see there's a bit of a hop. So we're just going to bring it up. We always want to fix our hops first. We're not going to worry too much about the lateral truing at first, because those hops are the most important. Because from what I understand, a lot of people have trouble with radial truing. So it's always best to get that out of the way first. And you can see here how it pulls over to the right, so over to the disc side. And what we want to do here is just kind of make sure that we drop it down, and because there's a hop there. Now, a lot of times it gets pulled over laterally from one side to the other because there's too much tension, and that's what's causing a hop or a dip. So here we go, we're just gonna look here, and we want to bring that over to the left, so lateral fix. It's sort of a back and forth type of thing. Hey, you're always correcting. So you can see here, like I'm not seeing a whole lot of radial problems anymore. So now we're just gonna focus more on the lateral truing. And I'm pretty sure most people can figure that one out. The radial one, I'm gonna have to make a lot more videos on because it's just not that cut and dry. Like it's always gonna be different on every wheel. So here we go, a little bit of a radial problem again. We wanna bring it up and over to the right. Again, we gotta bring it up a little bit. Now it's looking really centered. So sometimes it does that. Sometimes it just fixes itself laterally because you're doing all these fixes radially. And you can see there's a little bit of a gimp there. You kind of see that hop. So we want to bring it over, and what that'll do is it'll just kind of drop the rim. So if we loosen on one side, what it'll do is it'll push it over to the other side. So if we loosen on the non-disc side, what'll happen is it'll drop and it'll push over to the disc side. So now we're getting into like really fine tuning here. So we went up a little too much on the non-disc side, and we just want to drop it down. You can see here, like, a lot of people would say that this is good right now. And, it's only because I'm making sure I do it properly so that I can show you guys how to do it properly as well. And you can see there, like, the margins are small, like they're really small. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say it's okay. And then I'm just going to achieve full tension. So the way we do that is it's pretty lackluster. We just kind of go all the way around. I kind of already have a fair amount of tension on here, so I'm just going up in tension on every spoke a half turn, and then we're going to check, and my tension meter reads a little low, so that's about right. Now, we have full tension, but it's created a bit of a wave, just like a small wave, so what we're going to have to do is just fix that out, and it's not really a big deal at this point. You're just doing fine tuning, and the nipples can loosen no matter what you do. Like I saw this one guy, he put like a whole bunch of Loctite all over the nipples and the thread. You can do that if you want. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I've seen bike shops who've put blue Loctite on and they just let it dry, kind of like bolts that you would get for, say, brakes or whatever, or for attaching accessories like racks and stuff like that. It's just so it doesn't rattle out. A screw is a screw, whether it's the nipple and the spoke or a bolt and nut. So we can see here, we just need to push it over to the disc side. It's just fine tuning. Like, you can see how close the margins are there. Like, it's really fine. Like, you could just ride it like this. It wouldn't really cause any problems. You can see there, like that's really good. It all just depends on how true you want it. Like, that's a little bit wavy. I can fix that. That's just going to be, half turns here, half turns there, until you kind of just get it out. Like, until you straighten it all out. And we also have to remember that these are used. Like, this wheel's used. It's not brand new, and like, it broke 2 spokes. So we have to remember there's going to be probably some damage on there anyways. Now, we're just trying to give this wheel new life. We're trying to get it back on the road, and so what if it's not perfect? It doesn't really matter. So once we got that finished, we're just going to check our dish here. And I'm going to start on the disc side first, and you really shouldn't. I just kind of made a mistake here. I didn't really pay attention. So I'm going to flip it over to the non-disc side. This is where you should start, and this is the way you should do it. And, if you want to save time. So you just kind of find your dish here on the non-disc side, and then flip it over, and then you check on the disc side, because you have to bring the tension up on the disc side higher than on the non-disc side. So at this point here, I've done really well, thumbs up, and we're all done. So I hope this video helps you out. No bike shop and no bike guy is ever gonna fix your wheel in this way. They're gonna charge you to replace a spoke, and that's it. So if you want to do it yourself and make sure that your wheel lasts as long as it possibly can, this is the way you do it. You take down all the tension and insert your new spokes, and then retension the wheel as though you were building it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.